Welcome back to Nifty 50 Photographers. In today's video, we're going to talk about social media for photographers. Now, it's a necessary evil if we want to get our work out there and seen, especially if you want to try and make some money from it, or maybe just the sideline and sell some photos and prints or whatever. So what platform should you go on? Well, traditionally, the first one that would have sprung to mind is Instagram. And in this video, I wanted to have a little moan about Instagram because frankly, I'm losing my patience with it. So I've been on Instagram since 2015. And at the time, you set off with 1 or 2 followers. I got 1 or 2 likes. I built that up to over 1,000 followers, but I don't seem to be able to get any further very easily. And I know Instagram's business model has changed a lot, and the format of content they like has changed a lot. You know, there's a bigger preference to reels and video content, and I played around with those. In all honesty, maybe I haven't done it seriously enough to grow a big following. It's got to that time of year when my work slows down a little bit. I'm a property photographer predominantly. I tend to do a bit of a reset and start thinking about what I'd like to do next year. I think this is quite true for a number of photographers, and many of you will have heard of Peter McKinnon. I recently saw his video on his thoughts of Instagram. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's well worth a watch. Now, he has something like 3 million followers on Instagram, and he tracks his statistics pretty rigorously. And he was noticing also that he just wasn't able to grow his following. He might put a post out there and expect 10 to 20% of likes, and in fact he wasn't getting that. And what he was also finding is he was losing followers every week. Now, I have to say, I've noticed my number just floats up and down. I think it's at 1,070 at the moment, and it floats at +5 and then down another 5. And I've never really found a way to break that barrier to make it boost up a lot. The other thing I've tried to do, so I have an account called @Gill Photography on Instagram, and it's really full of property photos. I've tried to make it look obvious exactly what I do. I also wanted to be able to share some of my own photos that I take just for the fun of taking photos, why I do this job, why I love it. A lot of that's things like landscapes and the odd portrait and so on, a few pictures of my dog. So I have a personal account which is just @Gill Photos, and I'll show you the feed from that. And I've only been playing around with this actually for a little while, and it does seem to do better, probably because the feed looks nicer and so on. But I really got fed up with trying to make my work fit Instagram's business model. Now, I don't have any problem with Instagram changing their business model. You know, they're out there to make money. It's what they do. But I don't have to fit with that. And it was watching Peter McKinnon's video that made me think, actually, maybe there is something else out there and it might be better. You see, one of the reasons that I liked Instagram was in the early days in 2015 when I first went on there, it was very much about photos. And what I went on there was to see not only the reaction to my own photos, but also to see other people's photos, get some creative ideas and creative inspiration. And scrolling through my feed would do exactly that. I'd often see shots that I think, oh, I'd like to do a variation of that, put my own spin on it. Now, what I tend to see is adverts for stuff that may or may not be relevant. I hardly see any posts from the people that I actually follow that have interesting photos that would give me creative inspiration. And that's the biggest frustration for me. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you find this equally frustrating and what your solution is. I mean, do I now go over to Tumblr or Flickr or one of those old legacy kind of websites that are still going strong and use those? Well, what Peter suggested is maybe taking a look at Vero. And Vero's been around apparently for a long time. I hadn't heard of it. But I've just started my own Vero account. If you're interested in following me, you'll find me @Richard Gill. I'll be happy to connect and follow you if we can help each other and see some nice creative shots. Now that's what it's about for me, the opportunity really to get some inspiration, get some ideas, develop as a photographer, and I wonder really if the amount of effort that I have to put into Instagram, I put that same effort in perhaps to improving my photography skills or my editing skills, which would have given me the better return. I don't see a massive amount of business coming from Instagram. I do get an odd inquiry, but most of it is, please send me your lovely photos to this address and we'll feature them on our massive account, and it'll cost you a small fortune. And what will I get from it? I really don't know. So do let me know in the comments what your experience is, and let me know if you sign up to Vero and we can connect. I'll be interested to hear your experiences. And let's catch up again in the next video.